If you've looked at a few top 10 side hustle lists, you've probably noticed that they start to sound pretty similar. It seems that they're just combinations of ideas recycled from other lists, not necessarily based on real experience. This one is different. Welcome to Side Hustle Hero, the show that is laser focused on inspiring you to take action to start or to scale your side hustle income streams. I'm your host, Joan Possibie. This list of top 10 side hustles to start in 2026 are drawn from some of the most successful side hustles featured on the podcast over the past year, with an eye towards what's continuing to work and building into this year. They're not ranked in any particular order because when it comes to side hustles, one size does not fit all. The right one for you will depend on your situation. Some of our top 10 are simple and inexpensive to get started, like selling at farmers markets. Others take more capital and coordination, like luxury restroom trailers. But both can turn into very serious businesses. And all of our top 10 side hustles to start in 2026 are accessible, scalable, and proven to generate real results. Now, on to our list. First up is mystery shopping. It's been one of those side hustles that's been around for a very long time, yet it's often underestimated. Businesses haven't stopped caring about customer experience. If anything, with tighter margins and more competition, they care more than ever. And that means that they're still paying real people to walk in, act like regular customers, and report back on what actually happens. What I like about mystery shopping is that there's no startup cost, no inventory, no certification, and no real tech skills required. You're paid per assignment, and the work is flexible enough to fit around a full-time job or other commitments. And the range of opportunities is much wider than most people realize. Restaurants, retail stores, hotels, casinos, movie theaters, theme parks, even government agencies have been known to use mystery shoppers. In my conversation with Mercedes Eckert in How to Make $200 to $500 a Day as a Mystery Shopper, she shared one of the most unusual gigs she's ever done.
I actually was paid to gamble. Yes. I was paid to go to a casino resort and stay 2 nights and 3 days, gambling, eating, shopping, paid to do that.
I should point out that mystery shopping has also attracted its share of scams. Legitimate mystery shopping does not involve cashing random checks, wiring money, or buying gift cards to get paid. The work goes through established providers and you're paid for your feedback, not asked to pay to participate. From a 2026 perspective, mystery shopping still holds up because it's practical, flexible, proven, and it's still paying people every week. Selling at farmers markets earns a place on this list because it's one of the most underestimated ways to build real income. No need to sign a long-term lease, and you can choose to just sell on the weekend or use the market as a base to expand to other outlets. In Popcorn Profits, Making a Living in Just 1 Day a Week, Jonathan Schuett talks about how lucrative his farmers market side hustle business really is.
You could make a very comfortable living, just the popcorn business, working 1 day a week. But I want to grow myself financially and my retirement. I'll keep doing the markets as long as they'll let me.
Farmers markets give you immediate cash flow, real customer feedback, and a chance to test and refine your offer in real time. You don't have to wait months to know if something works. You know by the end of the day. This is a higher barrier side hustle than something like mystery shopping because you're responsible for the product, the setup, market fees, permits, and showing up consistently. But in return, you're building something tangible with repeat customers and long-term potential. Melissa Mills started with just $500, a blender, and a bicycle, selling cashew dips at the markets. And even though she's built her company now to mid-7 figures in revenue, they still have a booth at the market every week. I'll drop a link in the show notes to that episode too. It's called How to Build a Profitable Business from Day One. In a world that's increasingly digital, selling face-to-face at the markets with real customers remains a winner. Next on our top 10 list of side hustles to start in 2026 is printables. Because well-researched digital products can still create very real income. The key word there is researched. This only works if you start with what people are already searching for and you pay attention to how crowded that space is before you create anything. In a conversation I had with Becky Beach during the episode From Idea to $100,000, How to Sell Printables on Etsy and Shopify, I asked her what her top selling product was. So what is your top seller currently?
It would be a final wishes planner, because for those that pass away, like they want to make sure that before they do, they have their final wishes in place, because it's really hard on their family if your final wishes aren't taken care of before and their family has to like wonder about what you might want. So this makes it easy. So that's my top selling product. And it does very well. I get multiple sales every day, my Etsy store. And in my Shopify store, that's a different store, I sell this home organizational planner. And that's a really top selling product too, that I get from the people coming to my blog.
What that highlights is an important point. Successful printables aren't about what you feel like making. The key is to find a specific need, confirming that people are actively searching for it, and making sure that you're not jumping into a market that's already oversaturated. So, according to Becky, research the demand first, then the amount of competition, and if there's strong demand and not crazy competition, create the product. This is very different from selling at farmers markets. You're not getting instant face-to-face feedback. Instead, the signals come from search volume, sales, and reviews over time. But the upside is leverage. You create the product once, and you can sell it again and again without you being present. You can literally generate sales while you sleep. Next up is virtual assistant work. If you've ever thought, I'm not qualified for that, chances are you're underestimating what you already know how to do. Becoming a VA isn't about starting over. It's about switching lanes and applying skills you already use every day in a different way. In a conversation from the episode, How to Start as a Virtual Assistant, Laura Nicole Jennings drives home that point and also comments on earning expectations when starting.
The starting range typically is 20 to 30, but when you become a VA, you're not starting over, you're just switching lanes. But you can easily, I would say within 3 to 6 months, easily be bringing in 1,000 to 2,000 a month, working sub 20 hours a week.
When you become a VA, you're not starting from scratch. You're bringing your experience with you. What makes VA work especially relevant in 2026 is that businesses still need human support alongside AI, which hasn't replaced the need for someone reliable and organized and proactive. This is a side hustle that grows with you. You can start small, take on one client, and build from there. If you've ever been the person others rely on to keep things running smoothly, this could be one of the most direct ways to turn that into income. Online courses earn a place on this 2026 list. And contrary to what you might think, you don't have to be a top expert to teach something valuable. In fact, that assumption is often what stops people from ever getting started. I had a really interesting conversation about that with Dan Henry in How to Make Your Online Course Sell.
A big misconception is that you have to be a top expert. If the only people who could teach were top experts, then we'd have like 5 experts on every topic in the whole world. And the truth is that, believe it or not, a lot of people, the majority of the market, feels more comfortable learning from someone who's only a few steps ahead of them rather than a guru.
That matters because it reframes what qualifies you to create a course. If you've already solved a problem, figured something out the hard way, or helped others to do something more efficiently, you're not starting from zero. You're documenting a path you've already walked. And that's often more relatable. What makes online courses especially relevant in 2026 is leverage. Unlike VA work, where income is tied to your time, you create the course once, improve it over time, and sell it repeatedly. And with AI now handling pieces of content creation and outlining an organization, the barrier to building a solid course is lower than it's ever been. If you're a few steps ahead, you're already qualified to help someone who's right behind you. But a key, according to Dan, is to focus on solving problems when creating your course and not teaching topics. Not dropshipping, but high-ticket dropshipping earns a place on this 2026 list because it's one of the few side hustles that lets you build a real sellable asset without needing inventory or a warehouse. It's about capturing demand for products people are already actively searching for and doing it in a way that fits around a full-time life. With dropshipping, you don't buy or store products up front. Instead, you sell the product first off your website, and then the supplier ships it straight to the customer after the sale. What makes high-ticket dropshipping different from many other online hustles is you're not chasing volume. You're not trying to sell 1,000 low-priced items. You're focused on fewer sales, higher margins, and better customer conversations. And over time, what you're building isn't just cash flow. It's an asset that can be sold. Here's Ben Kneckendorf in our conversation of secret to dropshipping, sell high-ticket items.
While I'm working full-time at a Walmart distribution center, I built the business, got it to $2,000 a month in net profit, and then I sold it for $40,000, which was what I was making per year at Walmart that year. And, I've had a lot of exits since then. That's the one that is the most meaningful to me. It's when I really needed it the most. I needed that confidence. I needed something to show me that there is more to life, that there is something possible here. And I think that's the beauty of this business. I couldn't work on it full-time. I only had an hour or two a day to work on this business. And that's exactly what I needed to build something of real value, of asset value that was spitting off cash flow.
This isn't the fastest hustle on the list. It takes time to build the business. But if you're thinking long-term, if you care about building something that has value beyond this month's income, this model offers flexibility and scalability together with ownership. And this being 2026, of course, we have an AI component. And it's AI workflow consulting. It earns a place on this list because it solves a problem small businesses already feel every day. Things take too long, tasks get duplicated, information lives in too many places. Most business owners know that AI exists, but they don't know how to use it in a way that actually saves time or reduces friction. This isn't about building AI tools or knowing how to code. This role is about understanding how work flows through a business and using AI to simplify what's already there. If you've ever looked at a process and thought, there's got to be a better way to do this, and you consider yourself a bit AI savvy, you're already thinking like an AI workflow consultant. When you're just starting out, clients often come from places that you already have access to. Business owners former employers, local companies who are overwhelmed but open to help. Your local chamber of commerce or board of trade can be especially effective here because the people in those rooms are actively looking for ways to run their businesses better. And if you're comfortable speaking in front of a group, offering free workshops on practical ways small businesses can use AI is a simple way to demonstrate value without selling anything. The right conversations tend to happen naturally after that. Newcomers to this business typically start in the $30 to $60 an hour range, roughly, while they're getting comfortable and building testimonials. As you gain confidence and start delivering clear results, it's common to see rates move into the $60 to $100 range and sometimes higher. Once you're solving a defined problem, it often makes more sense to price by project or by outcome. That can look like a few $1,000s for a workflow setup or a monthly retainer to keep things running smoothly. You're not being paid for time alone. You're being paid for saving time, reducing errors, or helping a business operate more efficiently. That's part of what makes this appealing. You can start small with one client and one clear improvement and grow from there as your skills and your confidence grow. If you're a bit of a self-described AI nerd and you like systems and clear processes, this is one of the most future-facing opportunities on the list. The next one on the list I consider pretty unique. It didn't really register with me as a side hustle until a conversation one day with fundraising expert Elaine Allen. Fundraising earns a place on our list of side hustles to start in 2026 because it's one of the few side hustles where your income can be directly tied to causes that you already care about. That's a real attraction here. You're not pitching something random. You're helping organizations you actually want to see succeed. In Elaine's case, she's deeply passionate about animal rescue shelters. So those are the organizations that she reaches out to and supports. That shared mission matters. When you care about the cause, everything flows more naturally, and the work feels more meaningful and rewarding instead of simply transactional. This isn't about asking people for money yourself. It's about helping organizations think more clearly about how they raise it. That could mean helping plan a campaign, improving donor communication, or simply bringing structure to something that they've been doing informally for years. And organizations pay people to do that. Here's Elaine.
I know that all those executive directors out there and CEOs running these big nonprofits, their challenges are the same as the little guys.
Yes.
They need cash. And if you can help them get some cash in the door, you're very valuable to them and you're valuable to others.
In our episode, How to Earn $2,000 to $5,000 a Month, Fundraising for Nonprofits, Elaine points out that if you really enjoy it, you can scale it to full-time. If you care deeply about a cause and you're good at organizing, communicating, storytelling, this is a side hustle that lets you create income while making a real difference. Community postcards makes our list of side hustles to start in 2026. It's a direct mail model where you sell ad space on physical postcards. You design the layout and mail them out, all after advertisers have been paid. As everything becomes more digital, people are becoming more skeptical of what they see online. Ads get ignored. Feeds get scrolled past. Trust is harder to earn. And that's exactly why direct mail is once again working. When a postcard shows up in the mailbox, it doesn't compete with 1,000 other messages. And it's tangible. For many businesses, it can deliver a higher return because it reaches people when they're not already overwhelmed by screens. Here's Rachel Smith, who runs a postcard-based direct mail business with her husband, Dalton Joyner, talking about earnings.
The way that we make money is we charge $150 per spot. So that brings in $2,400. And then our cost to print is around $1,200. So we keep the difference. We've spent over a month traveling and visiting family. And this is basically just like funding all of our travels. It's putting money in our pocket. We can do this from anywhere.
What makes this especially interesting as a side hustle is that you're not selling postcards to customers. You're selling exposure to local businesses who already understand the value of being seen and helping them stand out in a way that feels more authentic at a time when people are increasingly wary of what they see online. It blends old school marketing with modern execution. It's simple, it's relationship driven, and it creates reoccurring opportunities in local communities. If you like working with small businesses and you want something that's tangible, proven, and surprisingly effective, community postcards are one of those under-the-radar opportunities. Luxury restroom trailers earn the final spot on this list. It's not an inexpensive side hustle to start, but it's one that's not often considered, even though it fills an obvious need. If you've never seen one, instead of a portable toilet that you might see on a construction site, stepping into a luxury restroom on a trailer feels like you're walking into a nice, clean little washroom. What makes this model so intriguing is how universal the demand is. Events, construction sites, film sets, festivals, weddings, which is where I first encountered one, corporate functions. And here's David Sawyers, owner of Royal Restrooms, sharing another use I never thought of.
This business could truly change a lot of productivity all across the board. For instance, like when we do business remodels, like Lowe's, Home Depot, your Target, your Walmarts, it used to take them 5 to 6 weeks to remodel the entire store's restrooms because they would shut down part of them to leave them open for other people's. By installing the restroom trailers, they've taken that time down to 2 to 3 weeks because they can completely shut all the restrooms down in the store.
Right.
While using our facilities outside, and they can remain operational. So you can see the savings from an untapped market.
That was from my episode with David, Flushing Out Profits, Making Money with Restroom Trailer Rentals. This is the kind of business where AI is not a threat. It can't replace the need. People will always need restrooms, and businesses will always keep to pay things running smoothly. Yes, there's upfront investment, but in exchange, you get high-ticket rentals, repeat clients, and you're building a business that solves a universal problem. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this list is that there isn't one right side hustle for 2026. Some of the ideas we talked about are quick to start. Others take more time or capital. Some trade hours for income. Others build leverage or long-term assets. But all of them provide a path to income.